Cheryl, you have to sit right there. Wonderful. Thank you all for being here. Let's go ahead and open in prayer. If you would stand, please. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from the evil one. Amen. Thank you. You can go ahead and sit. Welcome. We are extremely excited to be here in Dallas, McKinney. It's such a beautiful place. Texas is the best state, right? So I hear. So we're excited to be here. If this is your first time at a CiRCE event, we're really grateful to have you here. These events are really, really special, and so we're grateful to be able to be in community with you all as we pursue this classical renewal together. I don't have any announcements tonight. My job is to just welcome you and invite you to stay afterwards for a reception. I don't know if you could smell that delicious food out there. We'll have drinks and food. So please stay. I think we're allowed to stay till 3 or 4 in the morning. So go ahead and do that. But we're excited about that. And then we'll start bright and early at 6 a.m. tomorrow for the first session. It's in your book. Okay. It is my great honor to welcome our guest tonight, Deacon Nicholas Kotar. He is a deacon in the Orthodox Church. He is an award-winning author of young adult stories and fairy tales, and an expert in the Russian fairy tale tradition. And we're really excited to have him. He also has a new book series coming out, or it's a deluxe version of an old book series. He has a booth out there. Please go to that booth and talk to him. It's very exciting, but please talk to them about that. Really excited about that. And then also, I don't know if you know, but we have a podcast that is hosted by Deacon Nicholas called In a Certain Land. And I was checking the numbers the other day, and it is top 5% worldwide. Amazing podcast. Perfect for morning time with your children or evening time at bedtime. He just reads these Russian fairy tales, and then with a beautiful accompaniment of Natalie Wilson. An excellent podcast, and we're really grateful for his partnership in that. So go ahead and join me in welcoming him and Natalie.
Whatever shadow may fall on your life, whether you're worried about the fate of your country, or perhaps dark thoughts visit you concerning your own life, or maybe, just maybe, your entire life seems an unbearable open wound, remember the fairy tale. Listen to its quiet, ancient, and wise voice. In a certain kingdom, in a certain land, there lived an old man and an old woman. They had 3 daughters. The first two, well, they were pretty in their own right, but really they spent way too much time in front of the mirror. Now the third, she was more beautiful than words can describe, more beautiful than any story could tell. Now this old man decided one day that he needed to go to market. He never went to market without buying something special for his daughters. So he called all three of them together to the room and said, "My dear daughters, tell me, what would you like from me? What would you like for me to gift you? Anything you like, anything. We had a wonderful year this year. I have plenty of money." The eldest, "Oh, Father, there's that cloth of gold Chinese silk thing. Oh, that dress that I saw in the shopkeeper's window. Oh my gosh, please give it to me." "You've got it, my daughter, absolutely." The second one, "There's that shawl with a gold fringe. Can I please have that beautiful shawl?" "You will have it." Now the third, she just sat there, didn't say anything, kind of looked down demurely onto the floor. "My daughter," he said, "what can I get you? Anything your heart desires. Please tell me." "Father," she said, "I want nothing, only the feather of Finist the bright falcon." "Feather? Feather? What are you going to do with a feather? What profit is there in a feather? Silly girl, why don't you ask me for a beautiful dress or a shawl like your elder sisters?" "No, Father. The feather of Finist the bright falcon or nothing else." What could he do? She was his favorite after all. He went to market. It was a good day. He found everything he needed for himself. He found the beautiful silk dress from China for the eldest. He found the beautiful gold fringed shawl for the second. But no matter what he did, he could not find the feather of Finist the bright falcon. He didn't even know where to look. What was it? Was it a metaphor or a feather? Was it both? He didn't know. It was late in the day. It was time to go home. He didn't want to disappoint his youngest daughter, but there was nothing he could do. And just on the way out of the village market, an old man walks right by him holding a feather in his hand. Old man, sell me that feather." "Ah, that feather? Not for sale." "But please, my daughter, she wants a feather, the feather of Finist the bright falcon. Give me the feather." "I will give it to you for free. But you must promise that your daughter will marry my son, Finist the bright falcon." Oh dear. The father didn't know what to do. On the one hand, this was the one thing she wanted. And believe me, she didn't ask for much, ever. On the other hand, sell her for a feather? And this old man, kind of stinky, kind of dirty, "I don't know about this." "Very well, old man," he said. "It's a deal. Give me the feather, you can have my daughter." All the while, inside his head saying, if Finist turns out to be kind of a brute, we can always, cancel the deal. He brought the gifts home. Oh, the first and the second daughter, they immediately went in front of the mirror, put on their beautiful things, and just... The third, she took the feather, ran upstairs to her room, closed the door, locked it, threw it on the ground, and opened the window. Suddenly, out of nowhere, a beautiful, many-colored, feathered falcon flies in through the window, hits the ground, and suddenly, he's a beautiful young man. She expected it, and yet still, whenever it happens, the thing that you expect most, when it's even more beautiful than you expected, your breath is just taken away. Same thing with her. She didn't know what to do. She didn't know what to say. After all, there was a young man in her room. Oh dear. But he was so kind. He was so gentle. And he looked at her with such soft, kind eyes. They ended up speaking the entire night through. Right before the sun started to come up, he said to her, "Anytime you want, throw the feather on the ground, open the window, and I will come to you." That Sunday, she looked a little worse for wear. She wasn't sleeping all that much, and her sisters looked at her and said, "How are you going to church looking like that with those bags under your eyes?" And she said, "Well, the sisters, you're right, I'm tired. It's been a difficult week for me. I'm going to pray at home." The sisters went dressed to the nines. As soon as they left, the youngest daughter takes the feather, waves it to the right, And suddenly, she's covered in the most beautiful dress you have ever seen. She waves it to the right again. Her hair is made up in the most elaborate thing. I don't know. I'm not a woman. I don't know what they call that thing. Covered in all kinds of precious stones. Waved it again. And a crystal carriage appears in front of her house. She runs out, sits in the carriage, and rides to church. Everybody's jaws dropped. Who is that princess? She must be visiting us from a foreign land. Incredible. Wow, what an honor for our small little insignificant village. Before the service ended, though, she ran out, jumped into the crystal carriage, quickly went home, ran upstairs, took the feather, waved it to the left, and everything disappeared. The sisters come home. Oh, sister, why did you stay at home? You should have seen this incredible princess that came visited us from who knows some incredible foreign land. You missed so much. See, you should come to church on Sundays. The daughter said nothing. The third daughter said nothing. But the next night, as always, she dropped the feather on the ground. And Finist came. And as always, it was as if the whole night passed in 5 minutes. So wonderful was their conversation. So kind were his eyes. The same thing happened the next Sunday and the Sunday after that. Again and again, this incredible crystal carriage with these gold-maned horses and the princess from an exotic land. And every time she disappears. So the third week in a row, the sisters come once again and they say, sister, something had happened. You see, when she came home, she hurried a little bit and she forgot to take out a diamond this big from her hair. And there it was. There she was in her little sarafan, looking very dim and prim and demure and very poor. And yet, whoop, there was that big light like a sun on the side of her head. We saw that on the princess. What is going on? The daughter quickly ran upstairs, closed the door, and chuckled to herself. The pursuit of happiness. You're asking a Russian to talk about the pursuit of happiness? Well, you're going to get it. You're probably here expecting, hoping to be instructed so that you can come home and use the things you have learned for your children to help them acquire the right kind of joy, the right kind of happiness. And yet, there's something about the fairy tale that reminds us that before we can do that, before we can be good instructors of the good, the true, and the beautiful, something has to happen inside us. The fairy tale is not an instruction manual. You all want me to give you the secret formula. I know. You're not going to get it. And yet, I will try, during this short period of time that we are together, to show you how you can inhabit the story, how you can be inside the story, and how the story can lend itself to a very personal kind of experience that is close to interpretation, but doesn't get so close that you break the story itself. Because the story, especially the old Russian stories, are an inheritance of almost 1,000 years of an entire nation's slow move from paganism to Christianity. So all of that intense worry, all of that incredible cultural shift, it's all in there. And it's all in there on a level that isn't only visible from a historian's perspective from 30,000 feet above, but it shows you how it felt and how it still does feel to be inside that process of transformation. So if we don't insist too much on understanding what every single image means, what every single moral message could be that we could pull out for ourselves and for our children, if we listen to the still, small, quiet voice of the fairy tale, we may learn more than we think. Let's see what the beginning of the story suggests, especially if we're thinking about the pursuit of happiness. You see a rather typical setup that in the hands of an 18th century Frenchman would have become Cinderella, a moralizing tale about two evil sisters and an absolutely perfect paragon of virtue. By the way, children don't like that story. I don't know if you've noticed. There's actually been some interesting research done where neuroscientists measured the brain activity of children during reading of stories. And there was one story that was very much like this one, chaotic, crazy, did not have a specific moralistic message. And another one was 18th century Cinderella, which is as moralistic as they come. And I don't know if you can trust brain scans, but it did suggest that the children were more interested when they were listening not to the moralistic tale, but to the crazy, wild, hard to understand one. So we see already at the beginning some things that we might think we understand. The third daughter is humble. Yes, she's beautiful, and the beauty is the beauty of virtue, of course. She also doesn't want expensive things, or so it seems at the beginning. She immediately receives the fruit of her labors at the very beginning of the story. She shows all the right things. She does all the right things. She shows all the right attitudes, and she receives the feather. Not only that, but she receives access to something even greater. It's as if she's been poured, as if the grace has poured on top of her without her even asking for it. And yet, when that happens, there's an immediate test, and the test is one that she doesn't even see coming. Because Finist says to her, "You can get whatever you want, just wave the feather." And what does she do? She does it. What she does is mimic her sisters, but do it even more extravagantly. It's a test that should resonate very strongly with us, because it's a test that asks, do you want to create a different identity for yourself than the one that you are? Here's the power to do it. You've been good. You've received the gifts of virtue. What will you do with them? I will make myself who I am not. I will make myself a more beautiful woman than I am. I will make myself a princess while I am a poor farmer's daughter. The sisters grew very, very suspicious. Suddenly, they started paying attention to that mousy little sister of theirs. Started to listen in at her door, especially in the evenings, and yes, they heard a man's voice. The virtuous one. And at night, there's a man in her room? What is this? But it was even worse than that, because one morning, they happened to notice, just as the sun was rising, that through the window, out of her room, flew a beautiful falcon with many colored wings. Not just a man, but one of those shape-shifting magic princes. We want one of those. So what did they do? When their sister was asleep, they went into her room, they opened the window, and they lined the windowsill with knives and shards of glass. The next night, Finist came even before she threw the feather on the ground. He loved her so much. He flew right into the room. The window was open, and he couldn't find purchase on the windowsill. He's flapping his wings, and every time he does, he cuts them some more. He tries to grab the windowsill, and all he can grab is glass, jagged and bloody. He looks at her, and in anger turns away and flies to his own kingdom, beyond the thrice 9 lands, in the thrice 10th kingdom. The daughter woke up, and it was morning. What had happened? Her beloved didn't come to her. And she looked at the window. The sun was rising, and it sparkled right on the bloody shards of glass. And she knew exactly what had happened. She knew that it was her sisters. But she didn't blame them. She didn't speak to them at all. She went to her father and mother. She bowed deeply. She asked forgiveness of them and asked for a blessing. I have to go and find my beloved beyond the thrice 9 lands. Give me your blessing to go. What could they do? She was the favored daughter. So they did. They let her go. She went and she purchased 3 iron hats. She purchased 3 iron staffs. She baked 3 loaves of iron bread. And she had a cobbler make 3 pairs of iron shoes. She put on the first pair and she went into the dark forest, into the darkest, scariest, most horrible part of that terrible forest. And she walked and she walked and she walked and she didn't look back. Finally, the shoes, the first pair of iron shoes was completely threadbare. The first iron hat was nothing but tatters. The first iron staff shattered and she ate the entire first loaf of iron bread. And just as she did, she walked out of the dark forest into a clearing, and there, right in front of her, she saw a hut on chicken feet spinning around itself. Hut! Hut! Turn around with your back to the forest and your front to me. And it did. Turned around, the door opened, and in she went. And there, against the back wall, on the high ledge of the warm stove, was Baba Yaga herself, her nose growing all the way up to the rafters. Foo, foo, foo! For years uncounted, the Russian stink has not been felt around these parts, and now it walks around, shoving itself in front of me, throwing itself in front of my nose. Hooah! Where do you think you are going, beautiful girl? Are you running away from your duty? Or are you following it? Grandmother, I am looking for my beloved, for Finist, the bright falcon. My sisters did him ill. I must find him. Him? Oh! You're going to have a long journey still. He's back home, beyond the thrice 9 lands. And he's already found himself a new bride. The poor young girl didn't know what to say. It seems that Baba Yaga had a little bit of a heart in that shriveled chest of hers. And she said, well, let me tell you what I'll do. I'll help you. Here, I've got a golden mallet and 10 beautiful diamond studs. Take them. Now, when you reach the thrice 10th kingdom, you sit next to the beautiful wide blue sea and you start playing with them. Out of the palace of Finist the bright falcon will come his new bride. She will try to buy these things from you. You will give them to her for free. Ask only to see Finist the bright falcon. And now go to sleep. The morning is wiser than the evening. The next morning, she got up. She put on the second pair of iron shoes. She put on the second iron hat. She took the second iron staff and started to munch on the second loaf of iron bread. And she walked, until finally the shoes were threadbare, the hat was nothing but tatters, and she had eaten the entire loaf as the staff shattered for the final time. And she walked into another clearing, and once again, there was a hut, spinning around itself on 2 chicken feet. Hut, hut, turn around with your back to the forest and your front to me. And it did. The doors opened, and then again, a second time, against the ledge of the stove, Baba Yaga with her nose growing up into the rafters of the roof. Foo, foo, foo! For years uncounted, the Russian stink was nowhere near my nose. It's big, you know, I can smell everything, and now it seems to be walking around everywhere. What are you doing, beautiful girl? Are you running away from your duty? Or are you following it? Grandmother, I'm looking for my beloved, Finist the bright falcon. You have a long way to go, and the date for the wedding of the other princess is already set. You'd better hurry. Here's what I'll give you. I'll give you a beautiful golden plate and a diamond ball. Roll around. It rolls around there. It's very beautiful, very pretty, especially when the sun sparkles. Ah, lovely. The princess is going to come out on a walk. She's going to see you. She's going to ask for it. Don't sell it to her. Give it to her for free. Only ask that you see Finist, the bright falcon. Now go to sleep. The morning is wiser than the evening. In the morning, she put on the third hat, put on the third set of iron shoes, took the third iron staff in her hand, and started munching on the third iron loaf of bread. Oh, she was tired. But she went on, and the forest kept getting darker and darker, and her feet were getting heavier and heavier, until finally, the third set of shoes was completely threadbare. The hat was nothing but tatters. The third staff shattered in her hand, and she just finished eating the last bit of the third loaf of iron bread. And once again, in a clearing, the hut on chicken feet spinning around itself. Hut, hut, turn around with your back to the forest and your front to me. And over there, as usual, a third Baba Yaga lying on top of the stove with her nose sticking up to the rafters. Foo, foo, foo. For years uncounted, I haven't smelled that stinky Russian stink. And now, it's right in front of me. What do you want from me, beautiful girl? Grandma, I have to find Finist, the bright falcon. Oh, my dear. You're too late. He's already married. There comes a time in all our lives when we encounter the cruelty of those nearest to us in ways that shock us beyond belief. I think it's fair to say that this is also happening on the level of our society. The kinds of things that are going on, the political violence, the kind of darkness that seems to reside in people that you thought you knew is truly frightening. Even Jonathan Pajot, just today, recorded a video saying that he's been radicalized by the death of Charlie Kirk. Jonathan, who he made the point in the video, never speaks about political things at all. There's something in the air, something quite horrifying going on. Whether it's worse than it was in years, centuries past, I don't know. But certainly we are feeling, ever since the COVID days, our institutions, if not collapsing, at least losing the respect of those who used to look up to them. We are seeing something very similar to the collapse of the center, where people no longer can inhabit a kind of neutral middle place, where people are forced to go in one direction or another, even if they don't think they are. Some people are calling it the collapse of Western civilization. And there have been two camps in response to that as well. One is, buttress the civilization, save it at all cost. And the other is, let it burn. Extremes, extremes, extremes everywhere. There's a wonderful article written by Father Stephen Freeman about the ring of power in The Lord of the Rings. He wrote it in 2017, and it's ridiculously prescient for this moment. Just shows you how far we've gone even from that time, not even 10 years ago, where he says something that is intended to provoke and intended to get some people a little bit mad. He's suggesting that the entire idea of modernity is a grasp for power, and that anybody who seeks after the things of modernity are essentially trying to become little lords of the ring, dominated by an even greater wraith lord in a society that's run by wraiths. But he takes it even further. He doesn't let us Christians off the hook either. He asks these terrible questions. He says, do you think you are a part of a contingent that is saving your church? He says, do you want to make a difference in the world? He says, are you frequently angry at what you see around you? And instead of saying the comforting words that we all want to hear, that means you are Frodo throwing the ring into the fire, he says, no, that means you are all seeking to become little lordlings of the ring. A difficult word to hear. And yet look at how the daughter reacted to the cruelty of those nearest to her. A cruelty that was so unjust. She was completely within her rights to complain to her parents, at least, to speak to her sisters, to do something. And what does she do? She takes it all on herself and she throws everything she had away. And she goes into the forest and she embraces a life of difficulty in search for the one whom she desires. The last morning, Baba Yaga turned to the young princess, to the young girl, and said, I'm going to give you a gift. I have a horse. This is quite a horse. This horse eats coals for breakfast. I don't know why, but it's cool. I love it. It's also the fastest horse in the world, so get on it and get going. She did. She rode as fast as the wind, rode through the darkest parts of the forest until she finally came to the edge of it. And there she saw the wide, beautiful blue sea. And in the distance, shimmering in the early morning sunlight, was a beautiful palace crowned with onion domes. Surely this was it. Surely this was the kingdom of Finist the bright falcon. But she was tired. She was so tired. She found a place for herself next to the beautiful wide blue sea and she sat down. And she started to play with the golden mallet and the 10 diamond studs. Suddenly, out of that beautiful palace comes a procession of gorgeous women, and at the head of them a princess. Oh, she was the most beautiful thing that the young girl had ever seen. She walked and walked and turned directly to where the young girl was sitting. And she looked at the beautiful mallet and the diamond studs and she said, how much for that? The girl said, these are not for sale. Come on, how much for that? I really want that beautiful mallet, said the princess. I will give them to you for free. Only let me see and speak with Finist the bright falcon. Oh, Finist is tired. In fact, he's probably taking a nap right now. But, all right, give me those things and I'll let you speak to him for 5 minutes. She took them, shoved them in her purse, and took her directly to the palace. As she walked in to the bedroom of Finist the bright falcon, she stuck him with a magic pin, and Finist the bright falcon fell asleep, deeply. His true love came to him. She started to cry over him. She started to call him. She started to kiss him, hug him. Nothing. He wouldn't even budge. 5 minutes later, the princess came in. Time to go! Threw her out. Finist the bright falcon woke up soon after that. And he said, I had the strangest dream, as though someone was in my room, crying disconsolately. The princess said, oh, that was nothing. Only your imagination. The next morning, after a terrible night, the young girl started to play with the beautiful golden plate and the diamond ball. The princess this time didn't walk out, she ran. She saw that thing sparkling from a distance. Oh boy, she wanted it. She wanted it so much. How much for that beautiful plate and that diamond ball? How much? I will let you have it for free. Only let me speak with Finist, the bright falcon. All right. She took her in, and once again, she stuck him with a pin just as they walked in, and he fell asleep deeply, so deeply that it didn't matter what our beautiful young girl did. It didn't matter how many tears she shed, how many times she called his name, how many times she kissed him. He didn't wake up. And once again, the princess kicked her out. The third time, the third morning, the little girl has nothing left to give to the princess. All she has left to do is to make a fire of coals for the last time and essentially die. She has nothing left to live for. The princess, from a distance, sees the horse eating the coals. I need that horse. It eats coals, that's so cool. So she comes running out even faster. Can I have that horse, please? Yeah, I know you want to see Finist. Come on, I'll take you in. And once again, as they walk in, she pinned him with a magic pin. Except this time, she didn't pin him in the chest like she did the first time. She pinned him in his hair. And she walked out. This was the last time the young girl was going to see her beloved. She cried over him. She called him by name. It was no use. He was not waking up. So finally, she took his head into her lap, and for the last time, she ran her hand through his hair, and out fell the pin. He woke up. My love, you are here. You found me. How did you come? How did you come to be here? How did you find me? And she told him everything. She told him of how she went through the dark forest. She told him how his dearly not so beloved wife sold him for a few trinkets. He called all of his boyars together and he put the problem before them. Who shall be my wife? The one who sold me for a beautiful thing, or the one who gave away all the beautiful things to acquire me? Obviously, they knew what answer to make. There was a wedding celebrated of Finist the bright falcon and his one true love. And they feasted for many, many days. If we are to take anything from this wonderful story and apply it to our own search for happiness, we're going to have to deal with some Russian realities. She found her true happiness at the end, but she could only do that after she gave everything away. She could only find it after she embraced ridiculous amounts of difficulty and suffering that was not necessary. Why was it necessary for her to put on the hat, the iron hat, and the iron shoes? She still received gifts along the way, as she always did. But this time, the gifts were nothing. She saw them for what they truly were, a means to an end. As Saint Seraphim of Sarov would say, you are so good at trading money, so why can you not trade for grace? You must give it all away. You must die to all your desires. And in the final moment, when it seems that everything is over and you are looking at your desire for the last time, then the eucatastrophe happens. Then the beloved opens his eyes and offers what seemed impossible. He was married after all. It doesn't matter. It's a fairy tale. Thank you, everyone. I hope you find these next 3 days filled with opportunities to search for happiness, but don't forget that the best way to do it is to live in a story. May you all find the story that you need to find your own happiness. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. All right, we're done. Let's go ahead and go out where the reception is ready. So please stay and enjoy the evening together. Thank you.